Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving right into the nuts and bolts of a super engaging phonics activity called the Great Letter Sortathon. Look, if you've ever tried teaching young learners, you know firsthand that just keeping their attention is half the battle, right? Well, we're going to break down exactly how this specific activity works, step by step, and look at the absolute brilliance of the psychology behind it. Let's get right into it.
Oh no, look at this mess! So we start right out of the gate with this highly theatrical hook. Why? Because it instantly grabs their attention and frames the whole lesson as this urgent problem that desperately needs solving. Instead of a kind of boring, traditional instruction like, sit down and learn your letters, the host creates this sense of immediate, playful crisis. It draws the learner in from second one and sets the stage for a real adventure, rather than just another chore.
Okay, let's unpack this psychological hook a bit. We're calling it the cleaning up game. By framing a standard phonics lesson as a literal race to clean up, kids actually don't see it as work. To them, it's just a fun, completely natural organizing game. The source material points out that kids actually love the idea of organizing things, of helping to put items back into their designated homes. It's just a remarkably effective psychological framing technique that takes a standard, honestly sometimes repetitive task and turns it into this thrilling race against the clock.
Now, what is absolutely fascinating here is the utter simplicity of the physical props you need to set this vibrant stage. You do not need a massive budget or some complicated tech setup. Literally, all you need is a pile of mixed-up picture cards. Think super common everyday items: a cat, a dog, an apple, a ball. Then, add in 2 or 3 regular old buckets or baskets, label them with big, bold letters like C and D, and boom, that is the whole shebang. This kind of simplicity means all the focus stays entirely on the learning and the interaction, rather than fussing over complicated toys or screens.
And that brilliantly illustrates how you build on that initial physical setup. Listen to this opening dialogue for a second. "My picture cards are all mixed up. They are so confused, they don't know where their homes are." Notice what's happening. The host is actively personifying these inanimate cards. By saying the cards are confused, you're handing the children a very clear, empathetic mission. They aren't just sorting pieces of cardboard, they're actually helping these lost, confused little items find exactly where they belong. It taps directly into a kid's natural instinct to jump in, help out, and basically be the hero.
So, once the stage is set and those emotional stakes are totally locked in, the physical action begins. You simply pick up the cat card. As you do this, the physical movement zeroes the audience's focus onto one single item at a time. Out of that whole chaotic pile, the big mess, you've suddenly created this laser-sharp focal point. This is crucial because it completely prevents young learners from getting overwhelmed by the pile. Instead, it funnels all their cognitive energy into solving just one single problem right in front of them. And that brings us right to the core instructional method here. Listen to how this plays out. What's this? It's a cat. Cat. Does cat belong in the D bucket? No way! The absolutely crucial point here is how this uses heavy phonetic repetition, cat, paired with a totally silly rhetorical question. By asking if it belongs in the D bucket, you are intentionally making an obvious mistake just to spark the child's active vocal participation. They get to shout, "No way!" and really feel the power of knowing the right answer, which, as you know, deeply reinforces their engagement with the lesson. And then, boom, you deliver the payoff. Does it belong in the C bucket? C, cat. Yes, into the C bucket it goes. You absolutely have to celebrate the correct answer with super high energy. Our source material really highlights this kind of enthusiastic reinforcement to solidify that C sound and build some early momentum in the game. What you're doing is establishing this incredibly satisfying rhythm of challenge followed by immediate, joyful success. It keeps the child totally locked into the activity, practically begging for the next card. Okay. Let's move to the next card and see how we build on this. When you pick up the dog card, try throwing in a silly, exaggerated uh-oh face. Adding this physical uh-oh expression keeps the visual engagement incredibly high for those young learners. Think of it as a nonverbal cue that signals, hey, another problem just popped up that we need to solve together. It perfectly breaks up the verbal instruction with a splash of visual comedy, ensuring their eyes stay glued to you as you guide them through the next step. Notice how the dialogue consistently reinforces the idea of the bucket being a house. Let's find the D house. Zoom right into the D bucket. This is a massively important technique. It takes the abstract concept of alphabetical categorization and makes it completely concrete for a child. I mean, letters and phonetic sounds are pretty abstract, right? But putting a dog into its house, that is a highly relatable concrete action that makes total sense to a young mind. anchoring the new learning in something they already perfectly understand.
Now, if we zoom out to look at the flow of the entire activity, we can see a really deliberate structural pacing happening here. Step 1. You sort the initial items, like the cat and dog, very deliberately with full phonetic focus to establish the rules. Step 2. You speed up the pace as more items get sorted. And finally, Step 3. You perform this rapid-fire montage of sorting the apple, the ball, the car, the duck, and so on. The magic here is how you create a genuine sense of escalation. By intentionally speeding up the pace, you're simulating that thrilling race against the clock we talked about earlier. It keeps the repetition from feeling stale and ensures the energy is peaking all the way to the finish line.
And of course, every epic mission needs an epic resolution. Look at that! Everything is in its right home. You did it! You're sorting superstars. The activity wraps up with this massive wave of positive reinforcement. It validates the children's hard work, resolves that initial crisis of the mixed-up cards, and officially dubs them sorting superstars. This absolutely ensures that they walk away from the activity feeling accomplished, proud, and most importantly, super eager to play and learn all over again.
Which brings us to our final takeaway. Just think about the sheer power of this kind of framing for a second. We've seen how a couple of simple buckets and cardboard cutouts become this high-stakes, deeply empathetic rescue mission, simply by tweaking the narrative. So I'm going to leave you with this question to ponder. What other everyday lessons or standard learning tasks could you transform into a thrilling, cleaning-up rescue mission to instantly captivate your learners? When you start looking at your lessons through this specific lens, the possibilities are literally endless.